Time now for Have a Bible Question. Guyton Montgomery and Troy Spradlin come your way right now.
Oh, Troy, I got a good question for you today.
You always do.
I like this one. Where was the spirit of Jesus while his body was in the grave?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Well, first and foremost, when you go to Matthew chapter 27, verse 50, it talks about, that Jesus gave up his spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that we've talked about this before, how the spirit leaves the body.
Exactly.
And so now you have to go back to the scriptures to see some things. Now, I will say this. There's a lot of confusion about this when it comes to passages like 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 18 through 20, that talks about Christ suffered once for sins and just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit, by whom he also went and preached to the spirits in prison. And a lot of people interpret that as, well, Jesus went to hell or went down into the Hadean realm or something like that and preached to those people. He spent 3 days preaching. In fact, there's a doctrine called the weekend in hell, which is a false doctrine.
Yeah, and that doesn't really match what we know about the idea of the Hadean realm anyway.
Exactly. I mean, first of all, the context of that passage says, who formerly were disobedient when once long-suffering God waited the days of Noah. This is a context thing. It's not Jesus preaching. And what good would that preaching do whenever I think I know where you're going with this verse.
Oh, you do. Luke 16.
Yes.
We've talked about that a lot of times because you have the rich man and Lazarus, and both of them die. One goes to the place of torment. The other one goes to the place that's called Abraham's bosom. But they're both the Hadean realm.
Right.
And it's pretty much what we've said on the show before. It's like a waiting place, a waiting room.
Yes.
That we know generally what the outcome of the judgment day is going to be, because those that are righteous are in Abraham's bosom. Those that are lost would be in the place of torment. Because we know Jesus had no sin, we believe he would be in Abraham's bosom, the same place that Lazarus' spirit went while he was waiting. And so, but the difference is he arose.
Exactly. In fact, Peter said that in Acts chapter 2, verse 31. He says, foreseeing this, spoke concerning the resurrection of Christ, that his soul was not left in Hades, nor did his flesh see corruption. So where was Jesus? Well, Peter gives us the answer. He was in the same place that he preached about in Luke chapter 16.
Yeah, and this brings us a lot of hope. I love this because it fits in several, like the saints in the book of Revelation crying out from under the altar, how long, how long?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Jesus' soul did not stay in Abraham's bosom or his spirit. Instead, he rose in 1 Corinthians 15. We're going to be like him because he was the first fruit.
Yes, amen.